evening, everybody. Welcome to My Connection and the game of the week in the IMEX Sports Pregame Show. I'm Joe Cullen with Harry Nustramp from Carolina Varsity. Harry, second week, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me back.
Didn't scare you too bad last week?
No, I thought we did pretty good for our first time.
Wasn't too bad. A little long-winded maybe, but we'll try to shorten that up tonight. Again, new segment here for the My Connection game of the week. We look forward to bringing you to this the next 3 weeks at least of the My Connection game. And then we'll probably have a few weeks where we're just strictly on Carolina Varsity and IMEXSports.com. And then when we get into basketball, hopefully we'll be able to bring this back to My Connection and to you, the viewers at home. And you can always check us out at IMEXSports.com. And of course, get on and chat on CarolinaVarsity.com about all high school sports here in the state of North and South Carolina. So a lot of fun. Last week, we were pretty close to the mark on our talking about the games.
We did pretty good. I thought we had some good knowledge in between us, and there was a couple surprises in there. And mainly, I was a little shocked with how Mooresville's game ended up. But either way, I thought it was a good week of conference play for the IMEC.
It really was. Last week, the My Connection game of the week, Vance at Lake Norman. That one, we knew it was going to be a battle. That was the one that kind of got us. I think we both thought Lake Norman might have a little bit more for Vance. Vance came out and really controlled the football, controlled the ball game, and really dominated with the exception of a lot of penalties.
Yeah, you know what, and unfortunately for Lake Norman, it was their homecoming game. Like to see a little more out of them, I guess, for homecoming. A lot of energy there, but they couldn't move the ball. I mean, 25 yards total offense. What can you do with that? You can't put a whole lot of points on the board. And, the touchdowns they got were actually gift wrapped.
Yeah, they were actually, Gary Trexler, my broadcast partner on the Game of the Week, used that exact phrase in the halftime show, that they were gift wrapped in the first half with the punter down in the ball on the 10-yard line and the fumble inside the 10. Lake Norman literally went into halftime a 14-point lead without having a first down in the entire ball game. So
if you can do that, that's impressive, but you got to be able to do it a whole game, I suppose.
I tell you, Vance really did drive the ball up and down the field well. Had they not had some big key penalties, that score could have got out of hand. So got to give it to Vance. Great ball game. Moved them to 2-6 on the season. Got them their first conference win. So both of those ball clubs now 2-6 on the season overall, 1-3 in the IMEC. Our next game, Mallard Creek at North Meck. Everybody pretty much knew where this ball game was going, and 63-0 final score.
And from what I heard, a lot of people that were at the game, it could have got a lot worse. Mallard Creek was up 35-0 after the end of the first quarter. Began subbing in a lot of its reserves and mixing it in with the starters, which is kind of cool. I like seeing that, the reserves getting to play with the starters. But like I said, 35-0 after the first quarter. That was the game right there.
Yeah, North Meck really trying to rebuild that program, struggling after the opening of Huff. Clyburn really is their big weapon. He was ineffective against Mallard Creek, but then again, anybody's pretty much ineffective. Just to let our viewers know, if you're noticing in the background, we were at bench warmers tonight. We were going to try to be at Huff High School, where this week's My Connection game is. A little wet outside. It's Tuesday evening as we're shooting this, so you hear the bats and the balls, see the basketball go in the background. We were at bench warmers. Bench warmers, a good corporate partner of Ray City Management and IMEX Sports, so able to give them a little bit of love today to be inside.
Yeah, and electrical equipment doesn't respond too well to water, so keep it inside, keep us dry, we'll be good to go.
Electrical equipment, this pretty face doesn't respond well to it.
Well, I melt myself, so it's probably a good thing we kept it inside.
Oh boy, it's getting deep in here. Our next game last week, Huff at West Charlotte. This one, I think everybody thought Huff had the advantage, probably should win this ball game, and it ended up being the close game we predicted.
Yeah, after seeing West Charlotte play Mooresville, I saw a little bit out of that team. I thought maybe they had a little bit of potential. Still think they do. Huff, a little bit better than that team, and the final score showed it. Unfortunately for West Charlotte, the season's going to get longer with that loss, but great game overall, and Huff redeeming itself after losing on that last-second field goal to Hopewell.
Yeah, it really was a great game for Huff. They were down early in that game and were able to work their way back. Last-second field goal as time expires. Kind of what Hopewell did to them, they returned the favor to West Charlotte. And then our last game of the week last week to talk about, Mooresville at Hopewell, another last-second field goal. The Blue Devils, on paper, were overwhelming favorites in that ball game. Hopewell had a great game plan. Really came out, played well, though Mooresville did shoot themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, this was one of those games. One of those ones, if you're a fan watching the game, it's one of those games you just wanted to get over with and hopefully get out with a W. Mooresville was down 19-10 midway through the fourth quarter. It didn't look good for the Blue Devils, and then they suddenly came to life. Hopewell, like you said, they had a great game plan, but Mooresville just bounced back, and they were very fortunate to get away with a win, I think, in this one.
I tell you, the Heath brothers really did a lot of damage to us. Denzel Heath, the senior starting tailback for the Titans, ended up getting injured. Hurt a shoulder. He's going to be fine this week, talking to coach. But his little brother came in, and really, I tell you what, that Heath family's got some running back genes somewhere in the family tree. I
would say so. They got a lot of speed there, and the little brother carried the load very well for Hopewell in the second half. Moved the ball very effectively. It was tough seeing the older brother get hurt there, but he was playing both ways, so probably got a little wear and tear, but the injury definitely kept him out of it in the second half.
Well, and they rested him on offense because they needed him at that linebacker position against Mooresville, and he did play the second half at the linebacker position and did an excellent job. But Mooresville ends up 6-2, 3-1 in conference. Hopewell drops to 3-4 overall, 2-2 in conference. So, all in all, good week of IMEC conference football. Great action. We're here at Benchwarmers. We'll be back right after this break to set up this week's games for you right here on the My Connection Game of the Week and the IMECSports.com halftime pregame show. Welcome back to the IMEC Sports pregame show right here on My Connection. We're at Benchwarmers tonight. The weather outside, not so nice, so we're inside. It's Tuesday, shooting our wrap-up pregame show for the My Connection Game of the Week. This week going to be a fun matchup. We'll get to that here in a minute. But first, the first IMEC game we want to talk about is 3-5 West Charlotte at 2-6 Lake Norman.
This is one of those games you kind of wonder how it's going to turn out to. On paper, I think West Charlotte has the advantage. Got a lot of team speed. TJ Mixon will keep any team in the ball game. Very fast, can move the ball. Unfortunately, as we saw last week, Lake Norman having trouble offensively, not being able to move the ball. Advantage goes to West Charlotte first glimpse.
Really does. Hopefully the Wildcats can make a game out of it. I think a lot more team speed for West Charlotte even than Vance, and that's saying a lot because the Cougars are a fast ball club. But West Charlotte, I think, plays a little bit more discipline. Vance moved the ball well. West Charlotte's going to move the ball well. Next game is 1-7 North Meck at 2-6 Vance.
It's going to be an interesting one. You got two teams that don't have a whole lot of wins going at it. Like we just talked about, Vance, usually a lot of team speed. Same case this year. Got a great running back in Lorenz Bryant. And then you got Terrence Clyburn. It's going to be two superstars going at it, and I think it should be a good ball game.
Should be. I think, North Meck, after bouncing out of Mallard Creek, tough ball game. I think the pride in those players comes back, plays a really good ball game here. Vance, they have a lot of little things they've got to improve, and if they can do that, they're going to, they should be, on paper, the team to come out of this ball game. Next ball game, Hopewell gets the joy of heading to Mallard Creek this week. We laughed because we said it last week about North Meck, and again, Hopewell going to Mallard Creek.
Well, it's like I was talking about on Carolina Varsity. After seeing Hopewell, I think they have the ability to put a few points up on the board in this game. Not going to be able to obviously score with the Mavericks, Mallard Creek. Jayla Duncan, Andrew Goodman. They're an offensive juggernaut, and they're not going to run into any problems the rest of the way like we've talked about. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hopewell put a couple scores on the board in this one.
I think that would be a moral victory for the Titans if they can score more than anybody else in the conference is scoring. I think that will be kind of their benchmark for a successful ball game.
Sure, that'll be their go-to right there.
So, and finally, our My Connection Game of the Week this week. Mooresville, the Blue Devils, 6-2, travel to 4-4 Huff.
Well, I'll tell you what, this game is becoming a very, very, very big rivalry. I mean, last year Mooresville beat Huff 62-12. First-year program, you don't take a whole lot of, don't read a whole lot into that. But Huff's out for redemption this year. They took that loss very personally, and it should be a good ball game. Like we've talked about on paper, Mooresville should be favored. Games aren't played on paper. They
aren't, and if you look at Carolina Varsity, the athletes may be taking it seriously, but I think the cheering sections are really getting a little heated and excited about this matchup and this growing rivalry that's coming from Huff and Mooresville now.
It's fun to watch. If you just sit back and watch the the talk between the two teams, the fans, they're at each other's throats, and they say it's all in fun, and it is, but both teams want this win real bad.
Well, they really do, and that's CarolinaVarsity.com for those of you at home. Harry, writes for Carolina Varsity, and really a good ball game, good site, and the fans really are going at it, and that's what the site's designed to do.
Yeah, it is, and that's what everyone goes there for. They get there, if they want to talk a little trash, they can talk a little trash. We don't frown upon it, just keep it clean, obviously, but it's fun. Everyone gets to get in there and say their piece. But I will say about this game, it should be a battle of the defenses. Huff's got a very, very solid defense overall. Mooresville, once again, got a very solid defense. Last week against Hopewell, Mooresville had nearly 350 yards of rushing. Wasn't able to hold on to the ball. They could have put a lot more points up on the board, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this week.
Well, and you talk about offense, when you look at Jackson Campbell and O'Connor and those guys on the Mallard or on the Huff side of the ball, I mean, they've got a pretty good little offense that's developing as well. So it's really going to be a lot of fun. Two really good defenses, two developing offenses, I'll say. On paper, I think Mooresville has the edge, but you can't play it on paper, as you said. So we look forward to seeing it. We're here at Bench Warmers tonight. We appreciate you watching. Stay tuned. We'll be back, myself and Gary Trexler, to set it up on site for the My Connection Game of the Week.